And hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pumpkin Copter Cast, the only video game show. So today I'm joined. Oh, you're the first people to have ever registered that.
That's great.
So, yes, I'm joined by Tommy and Kyle of Team Meat. And we're here to talk about the latest game they're working on. So we'll start with some introductions from the both of you, if you don't mind.
All right. I'm Tommy. I program stuff.
Hi, Tommy.
Thanks. Hi. I'm happy to be here, and it's been a long journey. So.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it. That's my introduction.
I'm Kyle. I use a keyboard and mouse most of the time to make levels in the game of Super Meat Boy Forever. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to say that all the nominees deserve this award.
There you go. That was a great podcast.
It's the only one.
It's the only podcast.
So when was the first time the two of you became interested in video games?
You go first, Kyle.
Okay. Wow, what a question.
Yeah.
I would have expected as much from the only video game show. I think my interest in video games, I think, comes from a game on the NES called Rad Racer. My family, like my dad and my sister, were really into the NES, and so Rad Racer was like the only. I couldn't really play Mario at the time because I think I was like 3 or 2 or something like that. But Rad Racer, like, you mostly just go in that game, even if you're really bad. You don't really make it very far, but you get like you can drive and crash and stuff happens. You don't just like die instantly like in Mario if you just run into that first Goomba. And I don't know, I for some reason just really got into video games, maybe because they were easier to deal with than other kids. And then from there I just started playing more and more stuff, and NES became Super Nintendo, and then I Genesis, and then N64 and PlayStation and Dreamcast and all that stuff, and I just kept playing until eventually I was like, how do you make these things? And then that was kind of a whole nother thing.
Is it my turn to talk now?
Go for it.
Yes.
Awesome. Good. I like when I get to talk. Yeah, mine is similar. I also had Rad Racer. I think, and as you were telling your story, I was trying to remember, because we got an NES, I think in 1988. But I think my uncle had the NES before then. He had the little Rob robot thing.
Whoa. And
I vaguely remember them bringing it over to our house and playing it. And then I think my crazy, terrible grandma, not the good one I still talk to, but the nutcase, she actually bought it for us. And yeah, then again, and it just had Mario and Duck Hunt. It didn't have the robot thing. And I remember thinking, oh, I wonder what happened to that robot thing. And I think everybody else did too, because it's just, I think it's in Smash now. Do you realize there's a whole like generation of people that just know Rob the Robot as a Smash character?
Yeah. That's just like all the songs are from Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
I didn't know what he was when I discovered him on Mario Kart DS.
Yeah, I don't think I saw one when I was younger. I think Mario Kart DS is like the first time I actually I was like, what the hell is this?
I remember my uncles, and I remember it would place those top things, and I feel like I remember the tops just like falling over all the time and not working. So, yeah, and we got the video game system, the NES, and let's see, 88 I was 5. No, 88 I was 7. And yeah, I played Mario, and then I think one of the next games we got was Punch-Out, and I distinctly remember my dad fighting King Hippo, and we couldn't figure out how to beat him. And I remember I opened up the little flap on the Nintendo, and I got real close to it, and I said, "Just tell me how to beat him." And it didn't answer, but we figured it out. But yeah, and then that we played Zelda 2, and then we rented a bunch of games at the local Ward's video shop, now dead, because I think they bulldozed that whole area in Hendersonville. But yeah. And then at one point, I had a dream about making a Super Nintendo game. And how you made a Super Nintendo game is you had a special cartridge, and on the cartridge, it had a bunch of buttons, and you would press buttons and then plug the cartridge back in and then see what it was doing on the TV, and then unplug the cartridge and press more buttons on the cartridge. And that's how you program Super Nintendo games in my head. And I was like, that seems interesting. And then like 15 years later, I was like, then I figured out that was not accurate.
I don't know. That's pretty close to like.
I mean, as far as like a debugger goes, it's extremely close. Like
you push buttons and then you hit F5 and then wait and then you see what happens.
Basically, yeah. At some sort of high level, I understood how to make video games.
Dang, dude, that's crazy. You had like a message from the future.
Yeah, yeah. In my dream, it was a SNES cartridge that it just had like a D-pad on it and two buttons, and they were like red foam buttons, and you would press the red.
I mean, all you
button.
need is 0 and 1, and then moving around with the D-pad.
That's how I do it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, video games, huh?
Yeah.
And what would you say was your favorite game and/or games growing up?
I know what Kyle's gonna say.
Oh yeah, what am I gonna say?
You're gonna say you really, really love Call of Duty.
No, I thought you were gonna really guess. I can guess yours.
Yeah. If I were to guess yours, I would legitimately guess Kirby.
Yeah, but like the series, or is there a specific one?
Oh, the specific one, man. I don't know the specific one.
Okay, for you, I'm gonna guess Mega Man 2.
Yeah. That's kind of my favorite one.
Yeah, I know you.
is your Kirby the NES one?
The NES one was really good, but I think the game that actually I think I would say Kirby Superstar.
What was Superstar?
That was on the Super Nintendo, and it had like a bunch of games in it.
That's right, yeah.
And it was like the commercials were like, this game is jam-packed with so many Kirby games, and it was like one of those commercials where like I think like the kids are getting infected with this deadly disease, and like they're turning pink and inflating, and then like the doctors are looking at children, and they're just like, another case of TMK, and they're like, what TMK? And the doctor's like, too much Kirby.
Oh my god. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was setting up the whole like anti-vax movement for later.
Yeah, I don't want my kid dying from TMK.
But yeah, that was like I would play that game, and then I always loved having like whiteboards, like in like these little like handheld whiteboards or whatever, right? And I would get like dry erase markers, and I would just draw like Kirby levels, and then I would make little cutouts. I would draw Kirby on like a piece of paper and then cut him out. And then I would like put him on the whiteboard and then like move him around the whiteboard, like as if he was going through the level.
Nice. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I do for Meat Boy now. I just kind of like
basically, yeah. The whiteboard is an editor that works most of the time.
Okay, and what would you say is your favorite game and/or games now?
I'm gonna try to guess yours again, Kyle.
Okay, I think it's kind of easy right now.
Well, I know you like Tetris Attack now, or not Tetris. What is it? Tetris 99.
Yeah,
I know you like that one. I know you like Rocket League.
Yep.
You used to like Street Fighter. I don't think you play Street Fighter now.
No, Street Fighter 5 is ass.
Yeah.
4 is awesome.
Yeah, 4 was pretty
Everybody
fun.
played 4. It was great. Everybody. Like that was like the glorious return of Street Fighter. Everybody was playing it. And then I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to Capcom where like we're gonna get into some other stuff if I go down this road, so don't even. Rocket League and Tetris 99, that's pretty much the only games I play. I was playing Tetris 99 like moments ago.
Yeah.
Yours is Red Dead Redemption
guess
2.
mine. Guess
Red Dead
mine.
Redemption 2.
One thing though, you won't guess the game that I've been playing the last week, and it's gonna surprise everyone.
Wait, I think didn't you tell me? Because it was like Red Dead Redemption 2 you really liked, and then Fallout Shelter.
Oh yeah, I've been playing Fallout Shelter, a mobile game, because I'm old and stupid.
Yeah.
No, it's a time waster while I'm on the toilet.
Oh, so another mobile game, or is it like a Switch game?
I just play it on my phone because it's.
You're saying Shelter you play on the toilet.
Yeah, Shelter I play on the toilet.
I see.
I was playing Fallout 76 a little bit, which is a great game if you don't really want to do anything. If you just want to walk around for a bit.
You want your personal information leaked.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to walk around a bit and find some holidays.
It's an ARG, right? It's like part of the
game. Yeah. Yeah, I don't actually get to play too many games because I'm busy.
Yeah, well, that's why Tetris 99 is so great, because you just play it for like 3 minutes.
Yeah. See, I when I first played Tetris 99, the TV wasn't on game mode, and I didn't realize it, so I'm like soured by the whole experience. I was like, how can people play this? And then, yeah, sure enough, it was not on game mode, which I can always tell with a platformer, but I could not tell with Tetris.
I could tell right away. You had your HDMI in the wrong
slot. You totally called it. You're like, oh, this is off. Yeah, like you picked it up and like smelled the air, and you're like,
yeah. I licked my finger and held it up, and I was like, there's like 7 or 8 frames of input lag here.
Yeah, I can see the wind before I can feel the wind. I don't like this.
No, because I realized that because my TV, when I got it because it was like, it said everyone reviewed it as like 0 input lag, and I was like, what the fuck, this has so much input lag. And then I read the manual, and it was like, oh, you can only get 0 input lag on this specific HDMI port.
Yeah,
like out of the 7 in the back. So like now whenever I look at TVs, I'm like, okay, do you have your shit in the right HDMI? Because it's not really that obvious that that's the thing.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that, but it is. Yeah.
Modern video games just suck ass because we don't have CRTs anymore.
That's true. It's so true. Could you imagine like a 75-inch, like 16:9 CRT?
Dude, like one of my friends in Phoenix had like one of those like Sony, I forget the name of them, but they were like these really rare. It was like they're really sought after CRTs, and it was a widescreen CRT that was massive, and like he had to get like a different table because like it actually broke the first table that it was on. But yeah, he would play all this stuff on it, and it was amazing. Like right before I got rid of my CRTs, like 4 years or 5 years ago now, I turned them on one last time, and I was thinking like, I'm probably gonna turn these on and realize that they're not actually that great. And then I looked at them and I was like, fuck, these are amazing. God damn it.
Yeah, now it's all garbage.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now
anyway,
spy on you.
Are we on the only video game show?
Yeah.
Okay, sick.
So what made you want to get into like games development, games makery as like a job?
Let's see. I like programming. And I've found since, well, I always liked writing stuff. But I I wanted to go to school to be a movieman, a director movieman. That was one of the things I wanted to go to school for, but I didn't. I was an idiot and went for computer science. But yeah, I like solving weird problems, and if I get to write weird stories with that, that's cool too. And that's kind of what video games are.
Huh, that's interesting. I didn't know that you had. Well, I kind of know that now, but like,
yeah, right.
I didn't know you had like such an interest in, I guess, writing stuff as you're younger. I mean, I can tell that's the thing, but like,
yeah,
were you actually thinking about going to like a film school thing?
I didn't apply or anything like that. Like I didn't, because like, you gotta understand, like growing up in Hendersonville, North Carolina, like the world is very small.
Yeah,
like, it is very like we had like a pretty good high school. Like my high school was pretty good, and I had a class that was filled with a bunch of like smart kids, but the world was still very small. Like the idea of making video games, like honestly, when I say like I had that dream and then 15 years later I realized it was false, that's not inaccurate. Like it's literally like I didn't know fully what went into, like not even fully, but I didn't know that the ability for an individual to make a video game was even possible until the first Xbox came out, because something in that clicked where it was like, because I was like doing Windows programming and stuff, but it never, like the idea of making a game for PC was like, oh, people don't play video games on PC because everybody had like, you know, your N64s and your PlayStations and stuff. So that was like all black box. But like, yeah, like the realization of, oh wait, Xbox is just kind of like a Windows NT kernel. Man, you could totally just write code for that. It's probably a lot of the same stuff, a lot of the same libraries and everything. But yeah, like with, you know, growing up in North Carolina and having all these, I mean, you know the small town mentality. It's like,
yeah,
you got to get it. You got to go. Like, you got to go to college so you can get a good job. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I should. I like computer programming, so I'm going to do that. So like anything in the arts just did not click. So the like all through when I finally got to college, like the first year of college, I just that's like right around the time Flash 3 came out, and the idea of like making animations and stuff was like, oh, this is cool. So I made a bunch of terrible animations and like, yeah, like had aspirations of doing more, but then, you know, I had to pay bills, so I just programmed stuff until I got a video game job, and then I'm like, oh, cool, I'll do video games now, and then I did. So there you go.
Dang.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's interesting. I think it's interesting. Like the first Xbox came out, and then you were like, wait. Yeah, I remember like I was like playing. Yeah, like, I played games all the time. Like whenever I could, I was like, if I had a free moment, it was spent at a video game console, and then when I was older, then it was on my PC. But I remember like playing. I was playing like Mario 3, and I remember just being like, "How does this work? Like, do they?" And I talked to a lot of people that had this same theory as a kid, where I thought that they had to draw every single possible image that the game could present. Like, so like they had to draw the entire background, and then Mario at this position, and then Mario at this position, and then Mario like running at that. Like, I thought they had to do everything that could.
Yeah.
And then my dad was like, he is retired now, but he was an accountant, and so he had like a lot of computer stuff, and he was telling me like, you know, like a lot of the games that you're playing are like, there's like, this is like a bunch of math going on, and I was like, that's bullshit. There's no math. Like, this is Mario running around in a raccoon suit flying into space. Like, how is there math involved in that? That's stupid. So I always just had this fascination with like, how is this stuff made? 'Cause like, and then I would because what I would do, like I was talking about Kirby, I was it's like kind of awesome actually that I'm specifically making levels for Meat Boy, because like all the time I would just take paper and like fill paper with just like my own ideas for levels for like Mario, for like Mega Man, for Sonic. I would just, my dad, like he had like those roll up receipts, you know, like that he would.
Yeah.
And so I would take those and I would just roll them out and draw like a Sonic the Hedgehog level that was like just like so goddamn long. And like I would just imagine playing it, right? And then so eventually I got a copy of a game called Sim Tower by Maxis, and
yeah,
there's a demo that came with it for this thing called Click and Play. And Click and Play was like it was like no programming required, make your own video games. And so what it was this like thing where they had like pre-made graphics and you could drag them into like a stage, and then you could hit play, and like, or you could like assign certain things to them first. Like you could be like, okay, I want like this barbarian to be like a platformer controller, and then some other stuff, and then you hit play, and then stuff happens, and then Click and Play like will pause the game and ask you like, the barbarian has hit an apple, what do you want to happen? And it's like, okay, I want like to add 1 life to player 1 or something, I don't know. So I got super obsessed with Click and Play, and that eventually turned into like I found that they made like something called Click and Create, which is like the next step of that. And then because Click and Create had scrolling, that was huge.
Yeah.
Although if you made an application that was larger than 320 by 200 pixels, the scrolling would lag the crap out of it. Because it was just using like Windows like draw library. Like,
oh wow! So yeah, it was probably doing it pixel by pixel.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. So and I found I found a whole community of people online that were making games with this stuff, and there was like the Games Factory, and then eventually Multimedia Fusion, and so I just kept using that software, and I got more and more into like the side of it where it's still not quite programming like scripting, but it's like you have like a spreadsheet of your objects and then what can happen in the game. And yeah, I just got super into that stuff. I made a bunch of fan games. I kept making like Mega Man games where I would make the intro stage and then like 2 Robot Masters and then get bored and then want something else. I made a game. So at some point, I think in middle school, I was playing a lot of Pokemon, and then I was also playing a lot of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. So I made a Pokemon skateboarding game. I still wish I had that game somewhere. It was so funny. So yeah, that was like my beginnings. And then eventually I got into like Flash and started making Flash stuff, and then like Game Maker and all that kind of stuff. And I just kept going with like whenever I would hit the limitations of whatever software I was using, I was just trying to move on to something else. And eventually I got into it for real and make money off of it, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really sure what happened in the past like 10 years or so, but here I am.
Yeah. Things happened and here we are.
Yep.
All right, then. Now we can move on to the meat and potatoes of this train wreck of only video game show. So
I don't know anything about potatoes, so just so you know.
I'm diabetic. I can't have taters.
So if we were at a PAX or some other video game convention, and someone asked you what Super Meat Boy Forever is all about, what would be the rundown you'd give them?
I would say it's about pain and persistence and time and loss and gain.
Wow.
Then I would ask them not to stand so close to me because it's a PAX. No, it's a video game. It's a platformer video game where you control a boy that is a meat, no-skinned meat boy, and he is avoiding stuff. And this time he's saving his daughter with his wife, and things happen, and it's fun.
Does the concept of marriage exist in the universe of Meat Boy?
Yes. Yeah. Oh
Wow.
man. I get those questions on the Discord all the fucking time.
Well, you said his wife, so I don't know.
It's true. No, I guess they're married. I guess you can imagine what a ceremony would be like. Like, who else would be there? Probably nobody. Like, yeah,
they just elope in a courthouse.
Yeah, and like then that question, like, are there courthouses in the universe? Like,
is there like a new meat city?
Is Meat Boy's last name actually Boy, and so did Bandage Girl change her name to Bandage Boy when they were married?
No. Well, it's a very progressive couple, so they chose to retain their original last names. So, yeah. Meat Boy's not going to impose on her. If she wanted to be Bandage Boy, that's up to her. But,
right.
He's not overbearing. He's not a Dr. Fetus. He's not one of them. We already got one of those.
Okay. So, when the trailers for this game were put out into the internet a few years ago, the thing everyone noticed right away is that, contrary to Super Meat Boy of the past, this game is like an auto runner style platformer. So, what made you decide to make the game play like that once development started getting underway?
Well, the thing about that is a long time ago we were like, I guess the best way to say it is we kind of already made a platformer that was really good, that had traditional controls, and to do that again would be boring. So we didn't.
Yeah,
there's a lot of, and Kyle will attest to this, but there's a lot of interesting design problems that come with the auto run mechanic that you wouldn't expect. Like, the unfortunate part of the only unfortunate part of Meat Boy being an auto runner is the stigma that's associated with auto runners. And the stigma is mobile game piece of crap. Like, just randomly generate an obstacle over and over, collect coins, and then get a high score. And, that is what most of them are. So I don't really blame people for being like, oh, it's just an auto runner. But at the same time, it's being made by people that made Meat Boy, and we know, Kyle wasn't on the first Meat Boy, but as Kyle just got done saying, he wrote out entire levels on sheets of accountant receipt paper. So it's being done by people that aren't in the business of making crappy mobile games. So it's like, it's a different game. It is a different game that feels like Meat Boy, but just controls different. But it still feels like Meat Boy. And yeah, the initial reason to do that was kind of like, we don't want to do the same thing over again. Like, it's not fun. It's, Mega Man 2 is my favorite game ever. Mega Man 3 is pretty good. Mega Man 4 is okay. Mega Man 5 is, I don't remember. And Mega Man 6, I think there were suits instead of Rush. And Mega Man 7 was garbage. So it's like, Capcom is the king of doing Mega Man games, because, that's just like that, the idea of like going through stages and fighting Robot Masters, but they ran it into the ground. So,
they're also the king of that.
Yes, but they are the king of that too. Poor Capcom.
Shout out to Capcom.
Hey man, 1980s, 1990s Capcom was like the pinnacle. Like, I remember getting like Nintendo Powers and being like, oh man, the graphics in this DuckTales game are insane. That looks like Scrooge McDuck. That's Scrooge McDuck. And I remember thinking, like, the one that always had the crappiest graphics was Acclaim. They always had these terrible graphics. Acclaim did. And,
oh man.
Yeah, but like Capcom. Anyways, yeah. Why do the same thing over and over and over? And like, if we did what everybody was expecting us to do when we made the first Meat Boy. We would have made a really simple, cute little platformer game, and that would have been a disservice to us and everybody, because we gave people a hard game when they weren't expecting a hard game, when the trend wasn't hard games, and they loved it. So we just kind of have to go with our instincts and not do the same thing over and over and again.
Yeah, I think there's no like profound answer as to like why. It's just kind of like, I don't know. We found out that was fun. It was like, it was like, what if Meat Boy auto ran? Oh, that's pretty cool, actually. All right.
No, it's like literally that's like when we first announced the game in 2014. The scope of the game was a lot smaller. Like it was just going to be like a three level, 3 chapter kind of deal, and it was still like at its core, it was still the game that it is now. It was still like 2 buttons, jump and dive, but there was no punch and there was no attack or anything like that. But when I came back to it at the beginning of 2017, like right before Kyle and Lala and everybody was brought on board to work on it, it was like, this is really good. It's still really good, because we kept showing it at PAXs, even though it was the same build every time, and it was still surprising people how it felt. And it's like, okay, well, we announced this thing like 3 years ago, and people are still liking it, and no one's really done anything like it since. So this is like a good idea that no one's doing. So, and it's fun. It's like super fun to work on. So yeah, there's no profound. We could just say, and this will be the little line that you'll actually put in the header, we're just doing it for money. Just put that in the header. Yeah.
Oh, we've had different answers. Like, Meat Boy and Banished Girl, their daughter's kidnapped. So I mean,
that's true. Yeah.
You would have stopped running if your kid was kidnapped by like a weird fetus in a jar that has a doctorate somehow.
Did Liam Neeson stop running?
Yeah. No,
every
he never does.
Liam Neeson movie is the same now. Did you notice this? Everyone is there's like Taken. There were like 3 Takens, and now there's like Taken, but he's on a train. And
did they take the train, or
I don't know, because I stopped watching after.
Isn't that Speed 2?
It's Speed 3, Liam Neeson style.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, is Liam Neeson
Qui-Gon Jinn
auto runner?
Oh wait, what?
Is Liam Neeson an auto runner, or
Liam Neeson is not an auto runner?
Okay.
Liam Neeson is the same platformer over and over right now.
Oh dang, dude.
Yeah.
All right, the following people have gotten blown the fuck up during this podcast: Capcom, Liam Neeson. That's it.
That's it. Those are the following people. Wow. And my grandmother, my
crazy nut job grandmother. Get the fuck out of here. I will also say that the auto runner aspect is when Tommy and I were testing the Switch build of Meat Boy, I forgot that you have to like hold down the fucking trigger to run all the time. And I was like, wow, this hurts a lot.
It really does. Like that's no bullshit either. It's like I love testing this game because I literally have an Xbox what is it called? Is the accessibility controller the one with
Xbox adaptive controller?
What is it? Adaptability?
The adaptive controller.
The adaptive controller. Yeah, I have that, and it just sits over here. And when I need to test, I just with just like these 2 big giant buttons, and it's so much better than hand cramp. Like the hand cramp is real. Ooh,
it is. Yeah,
that's good marketing. It's real.
Say goodbye to hand cramps. It's like we have to make like an ad, like one of those prescription drug commercials that comes on during daytime TV.
Oh my god, yeah, and like. Yeah, ask your doctor.
Ask your doctor about Meat Boy Forever.
Oh my god, we're doing that now. That's gonna happen. I can get some blue hairs easily. You can. Here's another one. You can trick the elderly into about anything. So.
What is the context of that? Like, we're gonna have them buy Meat Boy Forever because I think it's a prescription drug.
They're gonna be in the commercial. And the one lady, like Esther, is going to be like, "Oh, my hand."
Oh, you're saying you want to trick them into being in the commercial?
Yeah. We're not going to
Okay.
pay them.
Well, when you said blue hair, I thought you meant me.
Oh no! I mean, I could trick you into being in the commercial, but
Yeah, you tricked me into a lot of things.
yeah, I could just be like, "Hey, there's a copy of Kirby Superstar in this movie set."
Yeah.
And then the door slams. And
signed by Sakurai himself.
Oh man. Yeah, what were we talking about?
Auto runners, Liam Neeson, blown the fuck out. Let's go. Only video game show.
Yeah, the only video game show. We're giving you all the things. Yeah. You know what I'm looking forward to? I'm looking forward to everybody, because it already happens at PAX. I'm looking forward to oh wow, this is actually really good. I'm looking forward to that on like a much larger scale, because it's fantastic, and very proud of it. And I don't know if Kyle has no pride in anything he does.
I really don't, actually, but I think so like that is a very large psychological problem I have. That's a story for later.
Oh my gosh. I was just shit.
No, I'm just joking. I think this game has been like I think it continues to surprise me. Like even to this day working on it, it's like how many cool things are in this game that like so many things that are possible because it's an auto runner.
Yeah.
And I think there's like a lot of design space that like just game like no I guess auto running game has really explored, because they've been traditionally mobile games that don't really have a lot of depth. And so yeah, I'm always excited to watch people play it at PAX, and I'm really excited / terrified for people to enjoy it en masse when it comes out.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Okay. And something I mean, besides the auto runnery, the thing I noticed the most in the times I've seen it played at PAX is that there appears to be quite a few various difficulty levels, and it's not something that Meat Boy had way back in the day. So is that just the thing you decided it should be in the game right away, or like as you were designing the levels, over time you realized maybe we should have difficulty settings?
It was kind of from the beginning, in a way, because the difficulties aren't like when you go back and you play the first game, like you have the light world and the dark world. So you do have two difficulties there. You have the base difficulty, which is light world, and then the harder difficulty, which is the dark world. With this, due to the nature of it being semi-random, and semi-random meaning that we design a whole bunch of small level sections and then smash them together to make a level, throughout that process, we had levels that were much harder than other levels. So it was just kind of natural that, like, well, we have so many levels, we could literally just have like the base difficulty and then just go up from there. And it allows us to kind of just do this more like insane challenges with it. And then you also have the dark world with that too. So yeah, it just kind of fit what was natural for the game. To like have those little difficulty level sort of things.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was trying to think if I have anything to add to that. That covers it. Yeah, it's like since there's so much game, there basically I feel like the difficulty levels are there to basically man, how many times am I gonna say basically? God. Basically. We wanted a way for players to be able to like challenge themselves in a way where they could, I guess, kind of, at least this is how I feel. It's like they can control how much of a challenge that they're ready to take on, right? It's like a lot of players at PAX will try to jump right into like brutal mode, or no, not brutal mode, cruel.
Cool. Yeah.
And yeah, they get sometimes like we'll see some players just sort of start to cruise through that, but a lot of times they'll be like, okay, wow, this is pretty tough. Actually, I'm going to dial it back a bit. But yeah, it's basically we had a way to. God, I said it again. What's wrong with me? Basically everywhere.
I say and so a lot, so that happens.
Yeah. I think it's about just being able to have a wide amount of content available and have it be presented in a way that makes sense. It's like if we have 100 chunks for one level, we want to make those have all kinds of different challenge ratings. And when somebody plays through a subset of those chunks, we want them to make sort of sense, and you want to get like the same sort of cross section of challenge. So why not just be able to just choose if you want to have like the easier side, the kind of like medium difficulty, or the most crazy of the 100.
Yeah, it's you mentioned something. What was it the other day? We were talking about Secret Thing, and we were like, it was a way to like challenge the player, but not make the challenge so hard that it's discouraging. Like,
oh yeah,
and it's like that's like a pretty cool concept to carry through, because the first Meat Boy did that. It did that, but it did it almost unintentionally, because like with the levels and the controls and everything, like nothing was really your fault, but it was like you had a challenge, like that was your set challenge, was to beat those levels. And like I totally lost my train of thought because the stupid Roomba hit the thing. It hit my door and it like freaked, like I jumped a little bit, so I completely lost my train of thought just then.
Wow, Roomba added to the list.
Roomba.
Capcom, Liam Neeson, Roomba.
Roombas are terrible. No, they're not. They're amazing. Roombas are the best thing ever. Yeah, something about like, like people want different challenges. People like, there's Meat Boy had its own like bragging rights thing just as the game, and in a way we're kind of giving you even more bragging rights now, because like if you beat Super Meat Boy Forever, that's the equivalent of beating the first Meat Boy, because that's where our base difficulty starts. But if you beat Hard, Mean, and Cruel on all the levels, well then you're 3 times more brag rights. So we're just giving more back to the community.
We really want to give back to the meat community.
Yeah, the Meat Boy community.
Yeah, I think it's about like presenting a challenge that seems it seems impossible at first, but then once you start to dissect it, you begin to like internalize parts of it, and it's like it's a challenge that seems insurmountable, but in reality you can do it. And going through that process involves like making challenges that are in a certain range that is like just beyond the player's current ability. And because if you present them like with Cotton Alley right off the bat, then it's just like, fuck this. But if you tune it right, then every challenge that seems unsurmountable becomes a little bit easier every time they try it. And eventually you go through this process of learning and getting better at just like reacting to things in the game, and like sight reading chunks, that kind of stuff, and you just become a god. So Meat Boy is a game about becoming a god.
It is. It completely is. Yeah, it's the sight reading chunks is really, that's something like whenever you're designing like a challenging game, you always go back and go like, man, is this too easy? Because like a lot of the stuff is like way too easy for me now, because it's that sight reading thing that you were talking about. And like I was in band, I was in jazz band and regular concert band, and like there was this guy, his name was Wes Parker, and Wes Parker was like the best alto sax player like ever. Like he was really
shout outs to Wes Parker.
Yeah, shout outs to Wes Parker. He was always cool guy. But he was so good, he could just, you would put a piece of music down in front of him. Not only could he sight read it perfectly, like right off the bat, But he would add his own little funk to it. He'd be like, when you're just supposed to hold a note. And that's kind of like, that's where I am right now with Forever, because I played it so much. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm like jumping off these things. I'm like checking my phone and like coming back like out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, okay, I got to jump.
There's something that happens at PAX that I really enjoy watching along, like with watching somebody play, and it's when they the exact moment is when they're stuck on a part of a level, and then they eventually clear that part of the level, and they're in like this euphoria of like, oh my god, I just cleared that part that I died on like 50 times. And then the moment that actually happens after that is the one that I really love, because it's pretty rare, but they get to a new chunk, or like, yes, like essentially chunk is like a subsection of a level. That's our technical term, chunk.
Yeah.
And they end up just like clearing the next chunk without dying, and they pull off some ridiculous move. And the reaction is always like the same. It's always, I don't know how I just did that. And I always, if I'm around, I always turn to them and I'm just like, that was just pure instinct. And it's like those moments are so cool, because it's like they are unlocking like a part of their brain that they don't even know that is there. So like they're pulling off these moves and just understanding the game at like a level that is below their consciousness.
Yes.
And so when they say like, I don't know how I just did that, that's like, it's one of those things where it's like, because whatever part of your brain just took over and did that part of the game for you was like, has been evolving. It has like as you're playing the game, and it's like so cool to see that happen.
Yeah, that is, I've witnessed that too, and it's like it's just trickling in, like little bits of the game, like, oh well, if I slide down this, like the sight reading of like, oh wait, that's a cliff, but there's a wall, but the wall doesn't go all the way down to the bottom of the screen, and there's a cliff on the other side. I could slide down that and punch and get to the other wall and skip half the level. Like,
right.
I've seen people do that, not even realizing that they're doing it, because to them, they sight read it that looked like the intended way, just based on everything they've been through. We've created the ultimate video game.
Right. For the only video game show.
The only video game show with the ultimate video game.
Yeah. And I remember last week, 2 weeks ago, when I finally beat the main campaign levels of Super Meat Boy for the first time in the 8 years I've owned the game in one form or another. Like at the very last level, when you're trying to run away and Dr. Fetus has just pressed a button to make everything fall apart, I sometimes wondering like how I got past that particular jump that like 6 years ago I couldn't even conceive of getting past.
Oh man, yeah, that's awesome.
You've been trained.
Yeah, you went Super Saiyan.
Yeah, I can't wait until the end game of all this, because I'm slowly training everybody to just send me $1 every month for no reason. Yeah, it's great.
Okay. And so, without giving away any like gameplay spoilers, or not too many, like what other types of new mechanics can be expected from Super Meat Boy Forever once it's out to the world?
New mechanics, yeah, sometimes that gets into a little spoiler territory. Yeah, how would I describe? I would describe one of the chapters as completely messed up. I would describe another one of the chapters as weird. I don't want to get into too many, like, I'm afraid if I say too much, it's going to ruin something. So I'm just going to say it's weird. You know, because, like, I like surprises, and I rarely get surprised these days. It actually a long time. There's some kind of wave that I'm on. I always knew what I was getting for Christmas. I like after I was like 13, I always knew. And
maybe you're like like a D-class X-Men.
Yeah.
That was like their mutant power.
Yeah. Cerebro's like, oh, there's that guy that knows what he's getting.
It's the guy that does it. Like put him in with the guy that can like grow his arm hair really fast.
Put him in with that guy that has no nostrils. Yeah, but like I really like being surprised about stuff, and I'm trying to remember the last time I felt legitimately surprised in a video game.
I know when it was. It was when you when suddenly you're standing on the top of pyramid of power in the Dark World.
Okay, yeah, like,
and you're like,
exactly.
What the fuck? There are 7 more dungeons in this shit.
I have very vivid memories of that. Going like, oh man, I got the Master Sword. I'm like, this was an amazing game.
This is so
like,
good.
And even though you go up to Death Mountain and you get like a glimpse of it, but like it still didn't really register with me. I don't think I like checked the map or anything. I was like, oh wow, this is weird, and then I was out of it. But like, yeah, like on top of the Golden Pyramid, like, oh shit, all right,
yeah,
yeah. I haven't been. That was definitely one of the last. I was trying to figure out.
Did you ever play any of the Mario games for the DS, like 3D Land, I think?
Yeah, I played 3D Land.
What about Mario Odyssey? Were you surprised at like one of the last worlds you unlock?
What was the last one? The moon? Was the moon the last one?
Well, the moon was one of them, but
I beat
shout out to anyone that hasn't played Odyssey yet. But
oh yeah, okay, yeah, no, okay. So that was one time I was legitimately surprised, and that was without spoilers. That last boss battle, I was not expecting that.
Sure.
Yeah. And that was beautiful. But yeah, as far as like Meat Boy, there's a lot of surprise there. So I'm not going to answer your question.
Yeah, I think I want to say that.
Yeah.
Like I think in Meat Boy Forever, we very quickly do like a recap of almost not like everything from the first game, but we do a recap of a lot of stuff from the first game, and then stuff starts to go a little crazy. So I don't want to say any specifics, but I don't know. I'm really happy with all of the stuff we were able to pull off in this game, and I'm excited to see people discover it and then be like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
I'm looking forward to that. Wait, what? Like that? Wait, what do you mean? Because it's happened already with some of the level designers that are helping out with this. They go, wait, what?
Oh yeah, we've had like a preview of that. It's like a reaction as like of our two level designers that are helping out, Daniel and Ryan. It's like they've been slowly going through the game, discovering what's there, and their reactions in our chat is just like so good.
It's and like they're seeing it at like the grossest level when it's like not implemented, and I cannot. Yeah, when people actually play it and they're like, oh, it's going to be a wonderful day. I will not see any of it because I refuse to watch Twitch streams or YouTubes about it or even read reviews. But I'll know it's happening. I see it at PAX. It's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
And something like in the cutscenes, we see that Meat Boy and Bandage Girl now have a little dumpling child, and just to go on a very brief tangent, when I am not doing whatever it is I could call this, I am an educator of the young peoples, and about like the day after PAX, when I went back to work, some of the kids immediately noticed the penny arcade pin of Meat Boy, Bandage Girl, and Nugget. And something I've learned is that, like 4-year-olds really were just instantly smitten with Nugget. Like almost immediately. She's like the smallest part of the pin, but they seem to like instinctively zero in on her. And just because it's once I tell her that Nugget is Meat Boy and Bandage Girl's baby, they just go like that particular type of shocked face that only a young person can give you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, just I know the Meat Boy games aren't the most story heavy games, but like was adding Nugget just a way to help like distinguish like Super Meat Boy Forever from the first one in like every way, in addition, like aesthetically, in addition to gameplay.
Well, in a way, without spoileries, the Meat Boy story is as most good stories are, and I'm going to say it's a good story because I wrote it, and I'm allowed to say it's a good story. There's a lot that is representative of real life. For instance, when I decided that Forever was going to be the actual sequel, I didn't want to do the same thing, which means I didn't want Meat Boy to be saving Bandage Girl again because that's tired. I was like, I want them to have a daughter. I want Meat Boy and Bandage Girl to have a reason to like have something to work together, like a goal to work together at. And around that same time, my wife and I were giving serious thought to having a child of our own. And sure enough, we did. He was born in 2018. A good year and a half, after Nugget was like created. But yeah, like it's like Meat Boy and Bandage Girl and Nugget and Dr. Fetus and this whole story kind of represents just everything that is going on. Like it has its roots in reality, and yeah, it's a way to like mature the story to bring it more in line with right now. Like I couldn't write a story about like I don't feel like I could write a compelling story about saving my wife because I don't need to save my wife. I've never had to save my wife, but like I feel like I can write a compelling story about caring for a child because that's kind of where my mind is right now. So yeah, it was kind of there to not do the same thing and to have an excuse to write something just nutso. and I did. There's like I swear there's going to be at least 30 minutes of cutscenes in this stupid thing. I'm legit. Like I was telling Paul's a lead animator. I was telling him like we're gonna have to do like a director's commentary, like splice everything together and put it on a Blu-ray to a director's commentary because it's so stupid, but it's great. I was actually really sad when I wrote the last because I write everything like screenplays. I was really sad when I wrapped up the story like several months ago because I was like, oh, now I don't have this weird thing that I obsess over anymore and write, and now I have to program all the time. So yeah.
Okay. And which platforms do you intend to release Super Meat Boy Forever on once it's ready to go?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like all of them. We're gonna do PC, Xbox, Switch, PlayStation 4. We will definitely do PC and Switch simultaneous, like same day. The goal is to have PS4 and Xbox on the same day as well. But if we don't make that, it'll be within a month. And then future plans with future consoles and like mobile and stuff. We will figure those out after the console launch. Like the game's 2 buttons, so it plays the same on a controller that it does on a touchscreen. So the potential for mobile is there. I know it's going to take some engineering to make that happen, but I'm seriously not worried about it until I have to.
Okay, then, and now it's time for the question that's always perfectly understood in every episode of the show that has ever happened ever. So, Tommy and Kyle, in your opinions, is video games?
Is video games. You sent this to me. I forgot to send it to you, Kyle, so you could prepare your answer.
Oh, shit. I mean...
yeah, you sent me this question, and my answer is no.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, okay. It depends on what your definition of is. Shout outs to the 90s. Okay. Dictionary.com defines is as Facebook ads or something. Oh, wait. Third person singular present indicative of B. That's not. Where is the definition? Dictionary.com. What the heck? This is terrible. What? Okay. I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, sure.
Always going against me.
Yep. That's, it's all about compromise and arguing about things constantly.
Yeah. Third person singular. Is video games? No, I don't like third person video games. I don't like first person video games.
Okay, then. And with that particular piece of dialogue, that brings this episode of the Pumpkin Copter Cast to a close. And
I have a question.
Okay.
What is a pumpkin copter?
Okay, so so this is from a joke way back in the day. So just a brief explanation. I am a part of the video game community based on the web show Video Games Awesome, and hosted by Fraser Agar, who covered Meat Boy way back in the ancient year of 2010, both at PAX and recorded on his show. And one of the things he likes to do, he did a few years ago, is host Minecraft build challenges on his server. It was like, hey, build a thing to a theme. And one of the, I think 2015-ish, they were having a holiday village, and I was like, oh no, I have no idea what the crap to build. And so just as a combination of panic and not really having any idea what I'm doing, I built exactly what you see when you Google the pumpkin, a pumpkin house with a propeller. And then I made the insides to make it look like a makeshift TARDIS from Doctor Who. And, he just kind of ignored it. And, what you didn't hear is after that show ended, 2 other members of the community were just laughing, and they insist I make it the type of joke that you just beat into the ground until it's a pile of giblets. And so I continue to build pumpkin copters in future Minecraft shows, angering Fraser just because, for no other reason other than I could. And then when I got the idea to make my own video game show, I was like, what should be the name of it? And I just decided to call it the Pumpkin Copter Cast, because, obviously just the Pumpkin Copter, which looks like what if the Doctor's TARDIS just gave up on life. You automatically associate that with video games. And so, yeah. So that's why this show is called what it is.
Wow, that's great. Also, I didn't know the connection with video games. Awesome. I loved the first show they did, Awesome Video Games. Not that I don't like the other one, but
They're
Awesome
bringing
Video Games is one of the
bringing it back this year.
What? They are? Oh my god. What great news.
Yep.
Dang.
And, yep. So that brings this episode of the Pumpkin Copter Cast to a close. I would like to thank Tommy and Kyle of Team Meat for joining me and entertaining my dreams of video game show have. If any of the -7 people listening to this enjoyed what they heard, you can like and subscribe. You can follow me on the Twitters at tgorman83 if for some unfathomable reason you wish to support me in another way. You can go to patreon.com/thepumpkincoptercast and give me a money or two. And yeah, is there anything you guys wish to plug before we sign off?
I can't think of anything. I've had a great time though.
Okay.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And shout outs to Capcom.
Yeah, shout outs to Liam Neeson. You unoriginal fuck. Yeah, Liam Neeson kick my ass, I swear. I'm afraid of that man. I respect him and I'm afraid of him. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And yep, this has been the Pumpkin Copter Cast, and to everyone watching or listening to this show, I hope you have a gourd day.
Jesus.
This is amazing. Give this pumpkin copter 2 monies at least.
Yeah, give him 2 monies. He deserves 2 monies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye now.